Hello, and welcome to R&R's Ask the Expert. I'm your host, Valerie King, R&R's editor-in-chief, and I'm joined today by John Anton, the founder of Bioesque Solutions. Bioesque develops and distributes naturally occurring, botanically based disinfectant and cleaning products. And we invited John on today to talk about the selection and the application of cleaning and disinfection products through the lens of liability. Thank you for joining me, John.
Great to see you again. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, as always. All right. So before we dive in, always good to know, can you share more about Bioesque and its role with the restoration industry?
We at Biowests, we specialize in making cleaners, disinfectants, and coatings that are specifically designed for the restoration company. Our goal is to help the restoration companies do their jobs more efficient and safer.
Thank you. And the last time you joined us, the COVID-19 pandemic was, of course, a topic of focus, considering the spotlight and the surge in demand it put on cleaning and disinfection services. So also, simultaneously, the pandemic led the US EPA to release new directions and, of course, approval standards for those products expected to kill SARS-CoV-2. I was wondering if you could connect the dots for us between these kinds of rules and restoration contractor liability, really the risk that restorers expose themselves to if they don't take these kinds of guidelines seriously.
Sure, absolutely. So, the restoration industry and the restorers, they need to read the labels. The old saying is the label is the law. Training is so important when it comes to this. Teach your technicians the right way to do a cleaning job. Don't just send them out with a product and expect them to read the label and be effective at what they're doing. You need to educate them first. Each and every product that you use has different directions, whether it's a disinfectant, whether it's a can of paint, whether it's a degreaser. They all have certain rules and regulations and do's and don'ts that you have to follow to make sure they're effective. So teaching your team how to use them is so important. It's going to tremendously decrease the amount of liability when they're on a project if they use them wrong. So education is so important.
Thank you for that. Okay, so to home in on the potential liability ramifications, could you maybe offer examples of mishaps you've experienced of improper cleaning and disinfection product usage, maybe from your time on the restoration side before becoming a manufacturer, or even what you've seen your clients do?
Yeah, sure. So I think the thing that probably jumps at me the most is the improper use of diluting a product. So a lot of products are concentrates. Okay. And so when it's a concentrate, you're supposed to mix it with water. And too many of the folks that are out there doing what we consider the glug method, where they pick up a bottle and they pour it into a gallon and they kind of eyeball how much is supposed to go in there. So, of all the years I've been in restoration, I can probably count on no hands the number of times I've seen a measuring cup on somebody's response truck. So over mixing a product or under mixing a product can negate the claims that a disinfectant has or a degreaser has on what it's going to do for the job. So it's so important to make sure that you're mixing these products right. Again, if you take a concentrated product and use it at a too high of a strength and start spraying it inside somebody's home or building, you're going to cause issues, which could then turn into legality issues. And it's simple to follow the directions, but it all starts with training and making sure that we're educated before we go out to a job.
The theme of training and education continues. So I understand there's a specific EPA development that's related to electrostatic spraying. Could you tell us more about it and what expectations it sets for restorers who use electrostatic sprayers?
Sure. 2020 opened up a lot of eyes in restoration and just in general cleaning in general. Everybody started using electrostatics, and they were putting whatever they could get at that time because, products became so scarce. They were putting whatever they could through it. And, the EPA had to come up with a plan to not only protect the workers, but to protect the end users that were having their buildings and homes treated, disinfected, sanitized, and so they had to put together a plan on, what's the best way to spray it. Most of the products have different dwell times. For example, our product, our disinfectant's got a 1 minute dwell time for the SARS-CoV-2 virus causing COVID-19, where, most of our competitors have a 10-minute dwell time. So the protocols had to be set and the testing had to be designed to make sure that, each product that was being applied, whether it was ours or somebody else's, was being put on for the right amount of dwell time. To take a product that had a 10-minute dwell time, in some cases, you really had to soak a surface. So it was super important to make sure that they got the testing right for the efficacy of the product. We needed to know the correct PPE that was needed to be able to spray this inside people's homes and businesses. Flammability, some of the products were flammable, so you had to be careful that you didn't put something like that through the electrostatics. Again, back during the pandemic, people were just grabbing whatever they thought was going to work to put it through. So it's definitely been a challenge for many, and the EPA's done a really good thing on tightening it up and making sure that the products that are being used through electrostatics are approved.
Okay, so with that understanding, curious, what has Biowests done with your products in response to this?
We started testing years before the pandemic happened, and COVID-19 was even, on the radar for us. We saw how effective this technology was, and we knew it was going to be something really terrific. But it was kind of ahead of its time, in the industry. Everybody's used to using dehumidifiers and fans and extraction equipment in restoration to do their jobs, but this type of electrostatic equipment was new, and so people were looking at it like, what in the world is this? So even before Biowests became what it is today, and before I had distributors that were working with us, I was taking electrostatic equipment to the end users and showing them how effective electrostatic could be with our product. So I look at companies like Woodard Restoration and Parker Young, Menels, Kowalski's, Belfours, people like that were early adopters of this technology and putting it to use. That gave us a chance to kind of let people see there's a whole other side of the industry that deals with disinfecting and sanitizing, not only just COVID and SARS cleanup, but it's effective against the mold industry, mold jobs, trauma jobs, sewage jobs, any kind of technical cleaning that you really get to get deep into a surface to make sure things are covered. So, we started on this, like I said, seven or so years ago. It was just a matter of time before it were to come to life. And when it did, it was pretty extraordinary.
Very neat. So where should restorers look? What indicators should they seek to ensure a cleaning or disinfection product is okay by these guidelines we're talking about?
Yeah, so the obviously going to the EPA's website is probably the best place to go. They will, if you go to the EPA's website and you type in a company's name, product number, EPA registration number, they will then direct you to a list of products that are approved for electrostatic spraying. So, for example, if you took Bioesque and went to the EPA list and typed in our EPA number, which is 87742-1, it's going to show you that our contact time for SARS is 1 minute and that our product is approved for electrostatic spraying. Very important, very, very important. If people are using products that are not approved for electrostatic spraying, they're setting themselves up for huge, liability issues, potential litigation, potential, personal property damages and other things that could be affected. So the EPA's website is always a great place. The product's EPA master label, which is public information. You can type that into a web search and pull up any of the products that are out there. And you can look at the master label to see if electrostatic is on there. The product label on the bottle should also show that. There's a lot of different things. The main thing is, there's a lot of creative marketing out there. The sales folks of different companies, when people are asking, is your product approved for electrostatic, they kind of, skirt around the answer and don't give the solid answer of yes or no. So, as a restoration owner, technician, employee, whoever, you've got to make sure you're doing your best to protect not only your company, your customer, and yourself, that you're doing the right thing. So, and again, it's coming back to educating, right? Educate yourselves before you pick up a machine, before you pick up a product, and make sure that it is approved.
Thank you. Really helpful practical tips. So before we go, I must ask, what is next for Bioesque? What's ahead? Anything new or in the works that we should know about?
We're constantly trying to innovate and create new products. We've got a new product that's been EPA approved. We're just waiting on state registrations to come through right now and all the states to adopt the label. Once that comes through, then hopefully within the next few months, we'll kind of release that to the public. It's a really cool product. I think it's going to do some really good things in the industry. We've got a lot of other things that we're working on, some for restoration, some outside into different markets. But, like I said, we're an innovative group. We're constantly trying to improve, develop new things, and, make things safer and easier for people to use. And again, at the end of the day, we want it to be a product that's going to make people more efficient and hopefully make them more profitable.
Very good. Well, we'll be following that upcoming launch and news. Thanks for sharing. And thank you for your time and insight as always, John. Before we go, where can our listeners go to connect with you or to learn more about Bioesque Solutions?
Yeah, sure. They can always go to our website, bioesquesolutions.com. We're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. I always tell people to call me direct. My cell phone numbers are real easy number for people to find. It's 404-732-6834. I welcome the call. I'm a restorer at heart, so my phone's with me 24/7, so people can call me at any time, any day, any holiday. It doesn't matter. I'm happy to answer questions and help in any way.
Thanks so much. All right, so listeners and viewers, for more insights on restoration, remediation, and the people behind it all, visit our website, randrmagonline.com, Apple, or Spotify. And if you haven't yet, be sure to follow the podcast to keep up with all of our latest episodes and give us a quick review and rating. We're also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, so we invite you to follow us on social too. This has been R&R's Ask the Expert. Thank you for listening.